Hey there, my name is Robert Newman, and I am a real estate digital marketer, an entrepreneur that specializes in real estate SEO and basically real estate technology in general. If you're on my channel or you found my video, if this is the first video of mine that you've ever consumed, I strongly recommend that you look through the rest of my channel and you'll quickly get an understanding of who I am and what I'm good at. Tonight, what I'm going to talk to you about is IDX. I'm talking about IDX because it's wildly misunderstood, and it's not surprising that it's wildly misunderstood because even the definition of IDX, according to the NAR website, is super confusing. So, first of all, IDX is obviously an abbreviation, all right? And usually, most of the time inside real estate, people are going to refer to IDX as Information Data Exchange. The NAR website says something different. One of those reasons why I'm covering what IDX actually is and what it does is because even NAR has got a very confusing policy or display. They're saying Internet Data Display, IDX, is a policy that allows brokers to exchange consent to display one another's property listings on the Internet. This program is known by several names, including Internet Data Display, IDD, and Broker Reciprocity. So you've got all these names, and then just you go down the same website just a few sentences later, and it's saying, frequently asked IDX questions and answers, how is Internet Data Exchange accomplished? So then almost right below this, where it's saying IDX stands for Internet Data Display, it's now saying Internet Data Exchange. All right? Here's basically what IDX actually is. So there's 300 plus MLSs in the US. And those MLSs tend to be somewhat like cooperatives. It's very large or small groups of realtors that have gotten together and said that they're going to pool their data and then that they're going to potentially allow certain people to use that data. But when they make the decision to give the data, they're going to give it to you in a certain format. Let's just say Bright or Trend. There are really a huge amount of MLSs that are out there. I've dealt with a lot of these MLSs. Currently, as we speak, I'm probably dealing with about 60 of them, okay? From a technology and development standpoint. You can see here on the homepage where it says, like, they're even talking to technology partners right on the homepage, developers. That would be us. So what does IDX accomplish? In most cases, it just these days, it's kind of a term that's synonymous with, will your MLS give you a data stream? Now, here's what makes this whole subject even more confusing. So Bright does indeed sell their data stream. Now, their data is all of the categories that they have when you list a home on the MLS. So certain MLSs that are doing a lot of waterfront property will have docks, boats, and slips as like a data point. And then other MLSs won't have that as a data point at all because it's completely unnecessary. So even though you might think that every single MLS has the same core data, you'd be very, very wrong. The MLS is going to serve its own particular audience in terms of what data is available. But they give that to you, imagine that they give that to you in the form of a spreadsheet, okay? Whatever they give that to you in, most of the time, they're saying, we have a few levels of data that we're willing to offer you. We're willing to give you our core data stream, which is an editable Excel spreadsheet, and you can play around with the data. But that's going to cost you. You want my core data, boy oh boy are you going to pay. So what's happened in the real estate business that makes this whole subject confusing is there's a middleman kind of technology company that's sprung up. These middlemen technology companies always call themselves an IDX, which is basically stands for Information Data Exchange. So actually it's kind of a confusing label. And you've got lots of these IDXs. A few popular ones are Diverse Solution, WolfNet, IDX Broker, Showcase, and honestly, Realty Na. The list goes on. There's hundreds. And I'm not kidding. There's hundreds. There's real estate web development companies that make their own IDX, is what they call it, like Real Estate Webmasters and SEO Interactive. And so it just keeps getting more and more confusing if you're the end realtor. What is IDX? Who has a valuable one? Like which one's the best? I'm not really going to cover those so much as I'm just trying to explain to you how what IDX is, and give you a basic education, but I'm not going to get into on this video which IDX is best, and there's a lot of there's always the concept of what might be best for one person is not necessarily the best for another. So rating and reviewing stuff is always really challenging because one person's Peter is another person's Pan. So in this particular case, though, so you have these middlemen technology companies that have sprung up, and they call themselves IDXs. All right? But what do they do? Well, they take the data feed from these MLSs, and usually what they've done is they format that data in a certain way. And you're looking at one of my projects, and we happen to be using IDX Broker. Please don't consider this to be some kind of recommendation or solicitation. Just like I said, there are things that this particular IDX does that I need it to do, but it's an expert level tool, which makes it not great for a lot of other people. And what I'm going to do is just show you an interesting thing. So this is a property. Okay? I'm showing it to you because while we've done something called styling the property sheet, which is possible because each IDX company, Showcase IDX, has some really cool features. They've got a plugin for WordPress, and what they're doing is each IDX is kind of packaging their whole service around one or two specific features. And these features are based on the same concept I've already given you. They get the core data feed from the MLS, and the MLS charges X amount of dollars, but gives them like a truly editable data feed, which they turn it into something that they think they can sell. And a data feed that you think you can sell to a real estate agent is probably going to be glitzy or look better or have better listings. I personally don't agree with much of that. Having great looking listings is very important. Okay, but whether or not that is really what you need out of a data feed, that's always another question. So I just want you to see something. The reason I'm showing this to you is you look here and you look here. Whoops. This is basically the same concept, but you'll notice it doesn't look at all the same. Data's coming in from the same place. Data's actually, in this case, it's not coming in from the same place. The MLS is different, but it's essentially most real estate data feeds are similar. Bright gives you all this really cool extra stuff that you're looking at. So you do have some cool features that are available basically with Bright, which we've enabled in the data feed. This is why IDX kind of gets confusing, complex, and robust in terms of topic matter. It is, you can do whatever you want with data, okay? The question always comes down to, if you're watching this video and you're trying to figure out what IDX is, hopefully I've explained that. Hopefully you got an understanding. It's just a data feed. It comes in from your MLS. IDX companies manipulate that data in some way. That's the simplest answer that I've got. Whether or not that manipulation is going to serve you well, that's another question entirely. You have to go through what they're doing with the data feed and find out if it truly works for you. I'm just going to say one thing as I end this particular video. Be very careful of people that are giving you a set out-of-the-box IDX. Because whatever it is, whether that's Firepoint or Real Estate Webmasters or SEO Interactive, if the IDX doesn't do everything you want it to do. There is no changing it, baby, most of the time. So you just have to be sure that whatever it is that you're being given is really going to work for you. And in many cases it will. If you're a new realtor or somebody that's just getting into the business, IDX is something that a lot of people spend a lot of time on. You probably should. There's quite a few good ones out there, and most of them will serve you about the same, okay, in terms of what their core purpose is, which is delivering information on the website. If you start to say that you want things like leads and you're intending to leverage your properties, which is part of the data that you're getting, well, that becomes a much more complicated question. And I'll be adding videos in this series of IDX talking about which IDXs are best for lead generation, why I use the one that I use, what's different between them, what are good ones that are right out of the box, who plugs into WordPress. There's all sorts of topics that you can get into with IDX, but I hope you found this basic video helpful in terms of trying to get your mind around what is IDX. Do me a favor, if I managed to do that for you, will you give us a thumbs up? Or hey, if you've got questions, drop them in the comments so that I can address them in later videos. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. See you on the next